In a world that is just buzzing with distractions, with endless demands on our attention, trying to find any kind of focus or resilience, well, it can feel pretty much impossible, right? So today, we're going to dive into the wisdom of Shaolin master Shi Heng and uncover a really practical path to finding that inner stillness and a purpose that doesn't waver. Okay, so let's just get right into it. We are faced with so many choices every single day that just deciding which way to go, what's actually right for us, can be completely and totally overwhelming. But what's so interesting is that according to Shi Heng, the answer isn't out there somewhere. Nope, it all starts by looking within. So in this explainer, we're going to break down 4 key ideas from his teachings. First, we'll look at the illusion of doing. Then we'll learn what it means to don't touch the water. After that, we're walking through Pain Valley. And finally, we'll wrap up with a practical guide, the journey of inner work. All right, first up, we've got to look at the very foundation of our ambition. Why do we do the things we do? As it turns out, our motivation, where we start from, might actually be setting us up for dissatisfaction right from the get-go. I love this. Shi Heng asks us to imagine that we are the director of our own movie. Right now, this very second, you are writing your story. So how do you want to write it? Do you want to write a story where the main character feels unsatisfied or unloved or just uncomfortable? Or do you want to write a story that feels truly, deeply fulfilling? This simple shift in perspective puts all the power right back in your hands. And this right here is such a critical distinction to make. See, doing almost always comes from a sense of lack. We feel like we're missing something, right? So we act to try and get it. A new skill, more money, a different job title. We're essentially trying to create an identity. But being, on the other hand, comes from a place of wholeness. It starts with the assumption that you are already complete. There's nothing you need to add and nothing you need to take away. You aren't creating an identity, you simply are. Okay, so let's see how this all connects. Once you've set a goal from that place of being, how in the world do you stay on track? Well, this next part is all about understanding the mental traps, what he calls the 5 hindrances that just pull our energy away from what truly matters. And here they are. First, you've got sensory desires. All the things we crave and try to pull toward us. Then there's its opposite, ill will. That's the aversion, the things we can't stand and try to push away. And then we have the last 3. Dullness, that kind of mental fog. Restlessness, when your mind just won't shut up. And of course, good old self-doubt. These 5 states are basically what muddy the waters of our mind. So how do you manage all that? Well, this brings us to one of Shi Heng's most powerful and memorable metaphors. It's so incredibly simple, but it's also really profound. Just don't touch the water. Imagine your focus, all your energy is a perfectly still lake. When you engage with a desire or you fight against something you don't like, you are touching the water. And that single touch creates ripples. And those ripples, that's your energy being scattered, pulled away from your true goal. The more you touch, the more you engage, the more turbulent your life becomes, making it almost impossible to see your path clearly. Now, this next idea, honestly, it's a real game changer. We're almost always taught to avoid pain and seek comfort at all costs. But the Shaolin perspective just completely flips that on its head. It suggests that willingly walking into discomfort is the most effective training you can possibly do for life itself. This quote gets right to the heart of it. The path to mastering anything isn't about finding a way around the challenges, it's about walking directly through them. It doesn't matter if it's physical training, learning a new skill, or facing a tough emotional situation. The process is supposed to be uncomfortable. That discomfort, that's where all the growth happens. And this just illustrates that cycle perfectly. First, any new practice feels difficult, maybe even a little painful. But you stick with it, you put in the consistent effort, and slowly that discomfort starts to fade. You break through your old limits, and suddenly what was once really hard is your new comfort zone, your new normal. But here's the thing, it doesn't stop there. The journey then presents you with the next level, a new challenge, and the whole cycle starts all over again. That, right there, is the engine of growth. Okay, this is a super important point, so let's be really clear. The goal isn't to become some kind of robot who's numb and doesn't feel pain. Shi Heng is very clear that he still feels pain. The difference is that the pain no longer dictates his decisions. He can feel it, he can acknowledge it, and he can keep moving forward on his path without getting derailed by the sensation. It's all about creating a little bit of space between the feeling and your reaction to it. So how do we actually do any of this? Well, our final section moves from the philosophy to the practical stuff. This is a clear three-step framework for actually beginning that journey of inner work and self-awareness. So step one, the starting point, is trust. You have to genuinely believe that understanding yourself better is actually going to improve your life. Step two, you have to become transparent to yourself. That means shining a light into all those dark corners you've probably been avoiding. And finally, step three, you must consciously choose the consequence of your actions. Which brings us to our next slide. Every thought you have, every word you speak, and every action you take, it nourishes one of two forces. Lightness brings with it freedom, liberation, joy, that feeling of being uplifted. Density, on the other hand, creates restriction, conflict, and the feeling of a heavy burden. So the question really is, which of these two forces are your daily choices feeding? Okay, let's make this personal for just a second. I want you to actually think about it. Look back over the last 7 days. What was the main flavor of your emotional state? Was it one that felt light and free and joyful? Or did it feel kind of limiting, heavy, like you were constantly under pressure? This simple little reflection can tell you a whole lot about where your energy is really going.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. It's the ultimate takeaway. If you want a future that looks different from your past, you absolutely cannot hold on to the same patterns, the same thoughts, and the same habits that created your reality right now. Real transformation always requires letting go. If nothing changes inside of you, then nothing changes around you.
So we're going to leave you with this one final thought. As you move forward from here, ask yourself this powerful question. To create the future that you truly want, what old pattern, what limiting belief, what part of your old story are you willing to finally release starting today? The answer to that, well, that's where the real work begins.